No one expected Toyota to leave without winning a single Formula One race, but that's exactly what happened. After making its debut in 2002, the Japanese auto giant stepped away in 2009. In those years, they did manage 13 podium finishes and secured 3 pole positions. Still, victory in a Grand Prix always stayed just out of reach. Their best Constructors' Championship finish? 4th place. That came in 2005. But while Toyota's own team didn't stay on the grid, their influence didn't completely vanish. From 2005 to 2009, they provided engines to teams like Jordan, Midland, Spyker, and Williams. Then came the decision that surprised many, a full withdrawal from the sport at the end of 2009. Quietly, they packed up, and just like that, they were gone now. 15 years later, there's something brewing behind the scenes. While the spotlight recently focused on Andretti Racing and its failed attempt to secure a spot as the 11th team, something else was taking shape in the background. Toyota isn't making noise, they're moving carefully, preparing for what looks like a calculated return to the world of Formula One. And they're not starting from scratch this time. Initially, Andretti's proposal did receive the green light from the sport's governing body, but the deal fell apart later. The real roadblock came from the commercial rights side, influenced heavily by the current teams. The message to Andretti was clear: not now, maybe later. Their plan involved Cadillac stepping in as a major name, but delays in GM's F1 powertrain development until 2028 left them without a solid option in the meantime. They even tried to use Renault engines with Cadillac branding, but that idea was dismissed as well. After Andretti's rejection, the U.S. Department of Justice began looking into whether F1 might be blocking new teams unfairly. A group of senators raised serious concerns. Could this be a case of a group working together to shut out new competitors? If proven, it could be a violation of U.S. antitrust laws. Formula One has been given until August to respond, while all eyes were on the Andretti-Cadillac proposal. Another strategy was quietly taking shape. FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem, who originally backed Andretti's application, hinted that buying an existing team might be a more realistic route for a new entrant. It's a path that avoids pushing through rigid approval processes, and importantly, one that existing teams find less threatening to their financial stakes. Andretti, however, stated firmly that no teams were actively for sale. With current F1 teams being valued higher than ever, some even exceeding hundreds of millions, the cost of buying one is far from simple. But there might be one exception. There's growing talk that the team known as H could be the missing piece. In this puzzle, its valuation is reported to be in the same range as the expected anti-dilution fee coming in 2026. That detail matters, because buying H might end up being financially smarter than entering as a new team under the current rules. According to Forbes, H is valued at around $600 million. That figure has made headlines, especially since Andretti has shown interest before. But a major obstacle remains: the tense relationship between Michael Andretti and H owner Gene H. It's no secret there's history between them, and it's made any serious negotiation almost impossible. Despite their occasional strong performances on track, H has always battled with funding. Unlike teams like Williams, who can at least push their spending up to the FIA's cost cap, H often lags behind. Their struggles are more about sustaining momentum, not just chasing podiums. Now, Toyota seems ready to step into this gap. According to reports from Formula Deutz, Toyota might return as early as next season, and they wouldn't be entering under their own badge directly. Instead, it could be a similar setup to how Sauber currently runs with Alfa Romeo branding. Since H doesn't build road cars, there's no clash of interest. In fact, it opens up the same kind of business model seen with Sauber and Stella NT. His details coming from inside the paddock suggest that if the deal goes through, Toyota would shift operations to its existing motorsport hub, the Toyota Gazoo racing facility in Cologne, Germany. This would become the core base for the new project, potentially starting from the 2025 season. That means Toyota wouldn't be building from the ground up. They already have the infrastructure ready to go. However, not everything would change overnight. Reports suggest the team would continue using Ferrari engines up until 2028. While some might see this as a mismatch, a Japanese brand using Italian power, there's logic behind the move. The transition has to be gradual. Toyota wants a strong foundation before they introduce their own technology again. They've clearly learned from their past mistakes. In fact, this layered approach mirrors what Aston Martin did in recent years. First, they appeared as a title sponsor with Red Bull. Then they took over the Racing Point structure, and now they're gearing up to become a full-fledged works team, powered by Honda when the 2026 regulations take effect. It might seem odd. On paper, an American-owned team potentially operating under a Japanese badge, powered by an Italian engine, but F1 has never been about simple flags and borders. It's about what works. If Toyota does return through H, expect big structural changes. Currently, H outsources its chassis design to Dallara in Italy and buys many parts from Ferrari. Toyota's long-term vision, though, is to reduce this dependency. They want to control more of the design and engineering, and That means more jobs shifting to Cologne, and more responsibility being handled directly by Toyota's motorsport division. Over time, the plan would phase out current subcontractors and build a setup where Toyota is not just a branding partner, but a real constructor. It's a serious step forward compared to their earlier stint, where they were often accused of being too rigid, too corporate, and slow to adapt. Toyota's first spell in Formula One left behind mixed impressions. While they had the resources, the results didn't match the investment. Despite a budget that rivaled the top teams at the time, they left the sport in 2009 without a single race win, something that still surprises many motorsport followers. The root of the issue wasn't money or talent, it was mindset. Toyota operated Formula One the same way they built road cars, through a methodical, top-down structure with layers of approval and bureaucracy. While this system works brilliantly for mass production and quality control in manufacturing, it's a poor fit for the lightning-fast demands of Formula One. Inside the garage, many engineers and staff felt limited. Decisions that needed to be made in hours were often slowed down by long chains of corporate command. In a sport where milliseconds count, Toyota often found itself reacting too late. Flexibility, which is the heartbeat of successful F1 teams, just wasn't there. One of the earliest indicators of trouble was the leadership setup. The team was initially led by Ove Anderson, a legend in rallying and sports car racing. While respected and experienced in motorsports, he had no Formula One background. Worse, the team didn't back him with enough senior-level F1 experts. That gap in knowledge slowed their progress right from the start. Many of their recruits came from other racing disciplines: rally, endurance, touring cars, but F1 demands a different approach. The scale, speed, and sophistication are on another level. And without people who understand those nuances from the inside out, Toyota struggled to keep up. Even though some individuals with F1 credentials were brought in later, they were outnumbered. The culture within the team remained heavily shaped by Toyota's traditional corporate style: careful, precise, but ultimately too slow to match the pace of a racing environment, where instincts and rapid responses often make the difference. Fast forward to the current season, and H is writing a new chapter. The American-owned outfit has turned heads with a much-improved car, especially at tracks like Silverstone. Nico Hülkenberg's back-to-back sixth-place finishes are more than just points, they're signals. Signals that this team, once labeled as midfield survivors, is starting to punch above its weight. In Silverstone, Hülkenberg not only drove with precision but also took advantage of every opportunity. When big names like George Russell and Charles Leclerc ran into issues, Nico was right there to capitalize. He described the race as tricky, especially with the uncertain weather early on. But despite the risks, he kept it clean, drove smart, and delivered 8 valuable points. Kevin Magnussen, his teammate, didn't fare as well, finishing outside the points, partly due to not having the latest car updates and dealing with tire issues late in the race. Team boss Ayao Komatsu acknowledged the missed chance but remained optimistic, calling it a very good day overall. Looking ahead, changes are coming fast. Hülkenberg is set to move to Sabarati in 2026, while rising star Oliver Bearman is expected to fill his seat. Esteban Ocon is also rumored to be in the mix, depending on where Carlos Sainz ends up. It's all part of a larger shift in the F1 landscape, and H is right at the center of it. If Toyota does finalize this partnership, it could be the breakthrough both sides need. For H, it's the chance to leap from a competitive underdog to a true contender. For Toyota, it's redemption, a second attempt, but this time with more humility, smarter strategy, and a deeper respect for what makes Formula One tick. The racing world is watching. The groundwork is being laid. And whether or not the deal is confirmed tomorrow or next month, one thing is certain: a new era is taking shape. If Toyota and H join forces, it could be the beginning of something no one expected but everyone will talk about.